Good morning, it's Monday, and I obviously said in the last video that I was going to try and do something a bit more structured this week. My target for this week is to hit my 100 books. Now, obviously, I've said to you before in vlogs and other content that my flatmate and I, Lizzie, are racing each other to 100 books, and Lizzie is currently about 6 books ahead of me, which is not ideal. It's just not ideal. But she reads very, very quickly. So she's been reading normal books. My plan this week is to read lots of graphic novels and short reads so that I can catch up. So that's my plan. But I'm not sure what my 100th book is going to be. I'm going to kind of see how we get on. I am starting today Pizza Girl, which is a contemporary novel by Jin Kyung, which looks at a young woman who's like 18, pregnant, not really wanting to be, doesn't really want anything to do with her life, and she gets this hyperfixation on this woman she starts delivering pizzas to. I'm really excited about that one. I've TBR'd it like 100 times, and I've actively not TBR'd it recently because I keep putting it on my TBR and just not getting to it, but it is an audiobook on script. So my plan today is to get some work done, listen to that, and then I will catch you up when I've done some reading. And then I'm probably going to have to just squeeze in like 100 different little graphic novels that are on script because, and this is not sponsored by Script. I don't even have an affiliate link or anything like that I can share with you. I just don't want to lose. I just don't want to lose. I'm so stupidly competitive. That's where I'm at with that. But I will catch up with you once I've done some reading. See you in a bit. Good morning, it's Tuesday. So yesterday I managed all but the last hour of Pizza Girl, and it's weird, right? Because it's exactly what I expected, but also not what I expected. I expected it to be introspective. I expected it to be a soft literary read, which it definitely is. I didn't expect it to be like a hyperfixation story, which it very much is. So basically this young girl, she's 18, she has a really fraught relationship with her family, which is mainly her boyfriend and her mum. There is suicide ideation in this, like she's dealing with the fact that she doesn't feel like she's going anywhere, she's very numb, but she gets these like hyperfixations on people, specifically women, which she finds quite jarring because she's in a straight relationship. Though I don't think she would really describe herself as straight at all, but it's that straight presenting relationship. And she very much feels like her pregnancy has ruined her boyfriend's life, and whilst he's very excited to be a dad, he has given up some great opportunities to be there for her. And I think she resents that. I think she resents the pregnancy, and she resents that her mum is 37 and going to be a grandmother. So like there's all this stuff kind of going on. In the meantime, she's spending a lot of time with this young mum who has an 8-year-old son who the Pizza Girl very much connects with as well. So like there's a whole bunch of that stuff kind of going on. I am enjoying it. I don't know if I'm going to keep my copy, which I have back in Banbury, just because I don't think it's necessarily something that I will reread. I feel like it's the sort of thing that I will gift to my mum, because I know that like she likes reading mum stories, like stories about parenting, and kind of she was very much a career woman, and we had like au pairs and stuff like that. Like she always she didn't prioritize, that's not fair. She prioritized her family's well-being, knowing that she would have to work hard to maintain that. And she had a career because that's what she wanted, and she did manage to find some semblance of balance, because my dad was very much the same, and we would like hang out as kids, and we would go for like drives and picnics and shit like that. But my parents were very much, it was at the weekend, right? And it was on holiday, and it was special occasions. During the week we kind of were looked after by other people, which is how a lot of modern families are. And I think sometimes mums do get like the shit end of the stick because they're trying to manage not just their own emotions but the expectations of being a mum as well. I'm really glad I probably won't ever be one. Like, to be honest, it just seems really stressful. But it does mean that once I finish this, I will be on 98 books. I thought I had like 6 to go. I don't. With all the short reads that I read over the weekend, I'm actually a lot closer to 100 than I thought I was, which is great. But it means that I get to decide what my 100th book is going to be. Now, I'm going to introduce you to the books that I would like to finish this week for my 100th pick. If Lizzie by this evening has not hit 100 books, I can't I can't promise that I won't be a fucking gremlin and just scroll through graphic novels on script until I hit 100 just to beat her. And I will be kicking myself in the face because it would be like I could have read a decent book for my 100th book of the year. But that's just kind of the person that I am. So we'll see. Anyway, so the two books that I would like to get finished this week, we have The Witchlings by Claribel Ortega. This is a middle grade magical book where these three friends are tied together by magic, and I'm assuming shenanigans and adventures ensue. I'm very excited for this one. This one very much gives me Amari and the Night Brothers type vibes. Excited for that. And then the other one is the adult fantasy, urban fantasy with clairvoyance, which is The Mask Falling, which is I think it's technically the fourth or the fifth, depending on whether you read The Pale Dreamer as a separate book, in the what is the actual series called? Oh, the Bone Saga. Most recent one. I need to finish it. I'm going to be reading this and audiobooking this, but those are the two that I'm kind of setting for this week. I've got quite a fun day today. I'm heading down to a fisheries today because one of the things that I do every Friday is I start my day with a ridiculously early business meeting where I talk to other businesses about getting work for them. And one of the people that's in this group is a fishmonger, and they specialise in fresh fish in Kent, and they're looking for like pubs and restaurants and stuff. And I'm going to go along and try some of their dinner, and I'm very excited about it. So that's basically it. That and work are my plans for today. So I'm gonna go crack on, do that, hopefully read, hopefully finish Pizza Girl, and I'll catch up with you when I've read something else. As if you might mess it up, you're stronger than the others think, and who cares if you might mess it up? Shine, go ahead and shine, darling, go ahead and shine, my dear, 'cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine, shine, darling, go ahead and shine, my dear, 'cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine. I am a monster, I am a gremlin, I am a cheat, I am a traitor. I didn't read either of the books that I said I was going to read. I finished Pizza Girl and I gave it 4 stars, and I will leave my full wrap up until like when I actually do my wrap up for next month. And then I proceeded to read Bloodstain Volume 1 and 2 on script. Because to be fair, I've had them saved on there for a while, and then I just couldn't resist. So they are by Linda Sejic, I think is how you say her surname. And she is the same author that did Punderworld, which I really, really enjoyed. I gave that 4.5 stars, which is a Hades and Persephone retelling. And I really liked the characterization in that. And I really liked the way, like the retelling feels modern, but it's still set in like a historical place. Unlike Lore Olympus, which feels modern and then has a very modern feel, depending on whether they're in Olympus or in the real world. But Bloodstain is basically about a young girl who is really struggling to find a job, really struggling to hold down a job, and studied to be a chemist, I guess. She studied chemistry, and she's now looking for work with this mad scientist, and he is very much, it's really funny. So in Love, like, taking a tangent for a second, in The Love Hypothesis, you have Adam Driver as Kylo Ren, but mainly as Adam Driver, as this kind of like love interest, and it's like a Reylo fic. Bloodstain feels like a Reylo fic if they really leaned into the mental health aspect of Kylo, and like mainly just in like art style and like the way it's like him and her kind of thing. I really expected it to be like a Reylo fic, to be honest. It isn't. At no point is there any kind of like
chemistry between them. She thinks he's super creepy looking, and like he's just confused as to why she's there because he's been awake for 72 hours and he is like struggling to work out what's going on. But it was a really fun read, so I gave them both 3 stars. Like I said, I was disappointed there wasn't more of like a romance element. I really thought there would be. The first graphic novel spent a lot of time bedding in that she is terrible at keeping jobs and that she's not very good at keeping jobs and this, that, and the other. And I feel like I could have skipped 80% of that preamble, to be honest, or had it as flashbacks or just had it as whatever. And like the bit that kind of got me is I have been struggling recently with my living situation, not with my flatmate Lizzie, we get on like a fucking house on fire, but like other stuff related to like living with shared people. And there is a conversation between the main character and her older sister that like we're supposed to empathize with the younger sister, with the main character. We're meant to empathize with the fact that she's trying, she's struggling, the older sister has so many things on her shoulders and so much weight on her shoulders that it really does make the younger sister look really fucking lazy. And as the older sister, and certainly the person that feels like the older sister in my living situation, that was really bizarre because I wanted to empathize with the main character because that's what the story is trying to do. But I don't empathise with her at all. I very much empathise with the older sister who is like, why have you run off to work with this crazy guy you don't know? But like I said, it was a really, really fun read. But it does make me wonder, because I like a character-driven story, right? It does make me wonder when it comes to like forming attachment to characters, how much of that is based on attachments we've created previously, right? So I'm currently watching Stranger Things with Celine and Amena, and the first time I watched Stranger Things, I got 2 episodes in. I thought I'd watch 3. I didn't. I watched 2 episodes and was like, this is not for me. Now, when I first watched it, I wasn't playing D&D, whereas now I have a game that we play pretty much every week. We're on hiatus at the moment, but like we play pretty much every week on a Wednesday. And I wasn't as into horror. I was very much into fantasy, urban fantasy, some gothic, but like I wasn't as prolifically a gothic nerd, or certainly not as well known. Like I did enjoy it, but it was one of those things where like I didn't really have anyone I could share that with. And whilst I love an 80s film, I can't say hand on heart that E.T. was my favourite film of all time as a kid. It just wasn't. So with all those references and all those things, I could see why people enjoyed Stranger Things. It wasn't my thing. And like there are some TV series that are so massively hyped that I'm like, I'm not even going to give you the time of day. Like, because I won't have the same emotional connection that everyone else will. But then equally, would I have more of an emotional connection if I watched it with someone who's also enjoying it? Turns out yes. So now that I'm rewatching it, we're on season 2, and what I took away from season 1 is, considering everyone hates Steve, like he's meant to be the stereotypical Molly Ringwald boyfriend who's a douche, I actually thought in the entire season, and considering he's only like on screen for like 23 minutes, he did 2 things that bothered me. The first was picking his friends over Nancy, and he rectifies that. And the second is when he fights Jonathan, like physically fights him. Because the first time, like, if you think about it, and like this is the thing that I think is so bizarre to me, because people obviously shipped Nancy and Jonathan from the start. He took a naked photo of her and then went to school, then developed it, left it behind, and then was surprised that Nancy's boyfriend was pissed off about that. Like, think about that in like a modern day context, and think about whether you would be as annoyed if it were the other way around. Like, if she'd taken photos of him, would you have been as annoyed? Probably not, which means what he did was not okay. Like, it's one of, I don't know, like, I don't understand how people can, like, and then it's just never brought up again. Like, she mentions it a couple of times, but in like a flirty way. That was really weird to me. So it's one of those things where like I can understand why people have certain emotional attachments, and I don't know if it's just that I'm a jarring human being that I don't know. Maybe I just need to socialise more. Maybe I just need to get out more. Think about it less. As you can tell, I'm sat in my dad's office today. I mean, those are mostly my books, but they're books that I have no intention of rereading. I've actually just cleared, so
You can see like these empty shelves here. I have just cleared those of classics that I read for my uni course that I never plan on reading again. And then this last shelf are ones that I'm unhauling to friends. But that is a completely empty bookshelf because I'm not taking them to Banbury with me. I don't want them in my house. But really thrilled because if you've seen my content, you know that I'm doing a TBR Vets challenge where I have to either unhaul, DNF, or read a book before I can put another book onto my shelf. And also, depending on which one of those things I do, depends on how many books I actually get to put on my shelf. I have just unhauled 36 classics. That, like, some of them I've made a note of them because I would like to get the cloth bound versions, but those cloth bound versions will have to be earned onto my TBR the same as any other. But that means that I am now in the plus when it comes to recording my TBR Vets, which means I get to buy more books, and I'm very excited about it. So now that I have hit my 100 books and I'm in the plus for the, I feel great. This is a good Wednesday. I'm already having a good day, and it is only 10 to 11, so we're having a good day. I do have a lot of work to get done, and I was talking to someone about this yesterday. The closer it gets to Friday, the more I can feel myself kind of getting more agitated because I have a lot to get done, and then I'm away next week, and I don't really want to be taking work with me if I can help it. So that's the only thing that's kind of like putting some pressure on me today. But my dad is working in the office today, which means his office is free. So I could just work in here and just get myself nice and comfy. And I might, because it's quite a nice little, like, it's quite a nice vibe in here. But someone needs to remind me, I need to bring this here. This is a flamingo candle holder. And I need to bring that home with me, because that I do want to take home with me. But I know I will forget. So if someone could remind me, that'd be great. Right, I'm gonna go get some work done. I'm gonna go make myself a pot of tea, and I'm gonna go and spend the rest of the day feeling really fucking smug because I hit 100 books yesterday, even though the last like 11 books that I read weren't really books. They were about 187 pages of graphic novel and script or audiobooks that were only like 3 hours long. Like I said, a traitor, a monster, and a cheat, but a winner. Good morning, it's Sunday. I haven't really read anything for the last couple of days, so I haven't had anything to catch up with until now. I am 70 pages into The Mask Falling, and I'm going to extend this vlog. Usually I kind of finish it on a Sunday, either Sunday morning or Sunday evening. I'm going to extend it until tomorrow, because I think I can finish this in a couple of days. Like I said, I'm 60 pages in already, and I plan on reading at least half of this today, and then half of this tomorrow, and then I can wrap it up as we go. I am enjoying this. Now, this is like the 4/5th book of the Bone Saga, which I mentioned earlier, but just to kind of clarify, I am going to try and avoid spoilers, but it is very, very difficult to do that when it is such a late book in the series. So if you don't want to know anything more than that, I would suggest just leaving it here, leaving a comment to say that you're like, oh, I'm going to get to the Bone Saga at some point, thanks for watching, and then otherwise feel free to continue. But basically at this point, Paige Mahoney has reached Calais, she's heading into Paris, and it's very much kind of experiencing the clairvoyance of the Paris syndicate. It's very, very different to the syndicate she's used to, and what I'm really enjoying is it's a very, very slow burn build of a wider world outside of the UK and where she has been living prior, which a sequel should do. It should build on the world, it should add more, but then there's also a level of intrigue because she's also dealing with PTSD from some of the stuff that's happened to her in the last book. So I am really enjoying it, but it is taking a little bit to warm up. But I'm not surprised. I think this one's like 500 pages. Yeah, it's 511 pages. So nothing's going to happen until at least the 300 page mark is my assumption. Like there might be smaller things that happen, but the main plot of the story isn't going to reach any kind of like rising action until the 300 page mark. I'm not too worried though. I really enjoy Samantha Shannon's writing style, so hopefully it'll be a really good time. But yeah, I'll catch you up when I've got something else to add. I am a cheeky little liar. I did not read I think I read maybe 5 pages. I think I started the audiobook, and then my brother was like, hey, do you want to hang out? And I was like, obviously, we haven't seen each other in ages, let's hang out. And then today I started my vlog for this week coming and still didn't read anything, and had a whole drama today. It's been a whole thing, but I plan on ranting about it in my next vlog for context, because it's related to the things that I filmed for next week's vlog, which is a whole Gibraltar thing. So I'm going to leave this here. I did hit 100 books, but I did not read any of the books that I actually planned to read, except for Pizza Girl. So absolute car wreck, as always. Expect nothing less. Next week's vlog should be, just in general, better. I'm sorry for whatever this was, but this is probably as low as my bar is going to go. Like, in general, it should be this bad. It shouldn't get worse than this. Next week will be better. I have no doubt whatsoever. But I hope you've enjoyed it regardless. Leave something purple or a little bee in the comments just to let me know you got this far. And other than that, have a nice day.